Well, hello, Flosstube. It is Monday, September 15th, 2026, and this is video number 81. It's only been 2 months since I last reported in, and I've actually gotten more stitching done than I might have thought that I would have gotten in over the busy summer months. So, I have no plan for today's video except taking things out of the bag that they've been in since I brought them home from our fair. So I'm going to go through what I entered in the fair, and I'm pretty sure that 90% of the entries you've never seen before, fully finished. This was the first year that I managed to not have to do a last minute framing rush. Everything that I entered in the fair was prepped and ready to be entered a full week in advance. Every year I say I'm going to finish stuff, FFO it as I finish so it's ready to go. And every year it doesn't happen. But I did what I could. All right. So I'm going to start with the first two because they kind of go together. This is the first one. There we go. This frame came from Hobby Lobby. It had a picture underneath it, and my plan was to mount this and get a mat because the stitching itself covered the decoration, but all of this was white. And it was just white on white, and it needed something. And so I went to Michael's, and I said, I need a green mat. And my original intent was to have like 1/4 of an inch of white showing between the wood and the green. And I said, I need 2 of them. And I specifically picked a mat that was in stock in the store, so that they could just cut it and I could go. And so she took measurements, and it was going to be $80 for just like a mat, not even like a window in the mat, just the piece of mat. And I was like, what? And she's like, well, it would be easier if you just bought the whole piece of mat board and cut it yourself. I said, okay, how much would that be? $35. Nope. So, if you've been around for any length of time, you know that I'm cheap. So I marched myself over to the paint aisle, and I bought a $1.30 whatever container of paint, and I just painted the whole thing. I did try to leave a white, the white space, but the painter's tape that I used to tape it off wasn't working, and it just didn't look good. So I'm like, I'm just painting it all green. And the best part of it all, I hope somebody from Michael's is watching, I had a $5 rewards coupon that I didn't earn. It was one of those that they just send to you every once in a while. And so for $0 out of my own pocket, I got the green that I wanted. So let me show you the matching set. You can see my blue ribbons. So I think this is actually the one that I stitched last winter. And this was this winter. And so they're going to hang together. And they look beautiful together. And I think that these were like, I don't know, $10 at Hobby Lobby. I bought them just as I started this one because I knew that they would be the right size. And it is what it is. So, yes, at my fair, I should say this. I'm also on the board of the fair, so I can say we. We use the Dutch system of judging. I have nothing to do with judging the cross stitch. I do floral as a superintendent. But we use the Dutch system of judging, which means each piece is judged against an ideal, not against other pieces. So for cross stitch, if your fabric is clean, if there are no wrinkles, if all of your X's are going the right way, etc., you get a first place. It is my experience that they only judge the stitching. They do not judge the finishing. So yeah. This one is one that you did not see FFO'd. I finished stitching it on August, I believe it was August 3rd, which was the 1-year anniversary of Daylene's passing. This was a memorial sampler for her. This was her favorite Bible verse. And we have chickens and roosters. We have her favorite dog, or her dog. I made some changes to this, so the lady is barefoot. She's wearing a hat like Daylene wore. So this will be a forever reminder to me of Daylene. And I just love it. This one you have also not seen FFO'd. I stitched this one. It was originally a dimension stocking kit, and I moved the fox over so it wouldn't be in a stocking shape. And then I debated stitching this, and so I didn't stitch it until I knew I had a frame that would fit it. So I found this frame, I painted it up. It cost me more than I like to spend, but I knew it was the perfect size, so it might have been like $6 or $7 at the thrift store. But yeah, so Santa is all ready for Christmas, and I absolutely love him. Here's another FFO. This was a blackbird that I did last fall. I had him in like a shadow box, and I just didn't like how he looked. So this is just a, something that had another design on it, and I painted around the edges, and now I can put him up for fall. I don't even remember which blackbird book it came from. I probably should have grabbed them, but I wanted to take advantage of the time that I had. This one was, I got a second place on it because they said it was wrinkly. Now, it's mounted on sticky board, so there's no wrinkles. It's the fabric that makes it look old, and so, yeah. I've had issues in the past with judges who thought the fabric was dirty because they weren't familiar with modern scrapbook stuff. This was a Stacy Nash. It was exclusive to Hobby House. So in April of 2024, when we were out there, I bought the kit and finished it up. And so it fit in an 8x10. I didn't have to paint it. I just had this frame in my stash. And I was like, it's really orangey. What am I going to use it for? And then I realized it would fit this. And so there we go. Another thing I can hang up for fall. I think you have seen these finished. But they brought back the Christmas ornament category. And for the cross stitch department, you can only enter one item that's measures less than 6x6. But in the Christmas ornament, you can enter up to 6. So it just made sense for me to enter these as Christmas ornaments rather than cross stitch. So those are those two, and then, oh, here it is. This one, I don't know that you have seen as an FFO. Uh-oh, it fell apart. Hold, please. All right, and what I did, I'll show you what I did. This is one of the freebies that Shannon Christine did a couple winters ago. I mounted it onto a button, make your own button thing. And then I bought on clearance at the end of last Christmas from Michael's. A lot of these were cheap. And so magnetized, puts it right there. So that lets me use this as a needle minder if I want to. But it also turned into a really cheap and easy ornament. So those were my fair entries this year. I feel like usually I have more, but I'm just working on so many large projects this year that I was happy. I was particularly happy that I got the winter scenes done and FFO'd. Every year I try to have something that's bigger or impressive. Not because I'm chasing ribbons, because I have 1,000 of these. I don't need any more. But just because I want our hobby front and center, and I want people saying, wow. And it worked this year because a gal that I go to church with, who I didn't even know was a cross-stitcher, said, Lynette, what are those charts? I must have them. And so I am passing them on to her because I don't need them anymore. So that worked. All right. So what we have now are my current whips. There's a couple that I have in the other room that I haven't touched. Probably two, I think. So I think I'm at 6 or 7. Don't know. We'll start with this one. I had talked about this one in my last video. This is my America 250 project. I wasn't going to stitch one, and then just because I had too many big projects for my comfort. And then when the premium book came out for the fair this year, it was announced that next year's special theme was going to be, Patriotic America's 250. I like to enter the special theme if I can. That is one of those rare categories where you are absolutely competing against other people, and it's not just cross stitch, it's anything in the handwork department. So sewing and crochet and knitting and rug hooking, whatever. But you get really pretty ribbons if you were if you place in the top 5. So when I can, I like to challenge myself and enter into the special contest. This year the theme was summer picnic, and there was nothing that I wanted to cross stitch that had that theme to it. So nope. But America's 250, yes, I knew I could do that. And so what I decided to do is a mishmash. Because ever since this came out by Teresa Kogut, I love the colors. And I'm, if you've been here, I'm a sucker. This is a big alphabet. It's not charted as eyelets or Smyrnas, but I'm going to do that. So what I decided to do was take the border, which I love, do the alphabet, which I love. I don't love so much the houses. I wanted it to, I don't know. I didn't want the houses. I've stitched a lot of houses in the past years too. So I started looking at other Teresa Kogut projects in this book. And I fell in love with this eagle. And so I asked my husband too, of all the eagles in this book, which one? And this was the one. So I'm doing a mishmash of those two. And this is what I have so far. So I started up here. I came down and around with the border. And then I knew where the center was at that point. And so I centered the eagle. And it it just fits. Like, I think I have 2 squares on either side. Like, it's a perfect fit. So I'm going to finish the alphabet. I'll probably do a normal sized round of alphabet. And then this whole thing will be a quote. And I know what the quote is. I'm not telling you what it is yet. I have to chart it to make sure. But it's a quote that I have always wanted hanging on my wall. And that was my other hesitation with doing an America 250 project. I wanted something that I could hang on my wall forever and I would love looking at. And so it kind of hit me with a bang that I've always wanted to do a project with this quote. I just need to, like I said, I need to chart it up first to make sure it's going to work. There's a lot of fill-in here that I left, and so this is going to be retreat stitching for me. I don't have a ton of fill-in projects, so this was another reason I decided to start this one, because I did stitch on it a lot on our way to Syracuse when we were taking little one back to school in August. So that's my first one here, which means that's whip number 3 in total. This is whip number 4. If you are the child that made me a mother, you have to look away, turn it off, whatever. So this one, I don't want to say too much. So I'm just going to show it to you. I do plan on stitching this. I have a couple of retreats this fall, and so I do plan on stitching this at some of the retreats. I stitched on this most recently on Friday because said child who made me a mother fell off horse and broke her wrist and needed surgery. So that's what I worked on in the waiting room. So whip 4 right there. The problem with this one is it's on 22 count. And it's not, like, I can't do it in the car. It's too small. No problem on 20 count. I should have said that the Teresa Coca is on 22 count vintage country mocha, because that's just the fabric that I love the most to stitch on. 22 count I can't do in the car. All right, what is this one? Oh, it's a surprise. Forgot I started one. So I mentioned I have a retreat coming up, actually 2 of them, and I wanted more fill-in projects. So I decided to stitch on this one, except I don't have a lot of blue in the house. I have more dark reds and cranberry. And so I wanted to outline this right here so that I could just fill in at the retreat. So that's what I'm doing. This is on also 22 count, but it is not vintage country mocha. It's just kind of an ivory. I think it's some sort of specialty. It might even be a hand dyed. I'm not sure. It's not the same as like a Zweigart. It's a little more, I don't know, irregular, even though it's a 20 count Aida. I don't love it, but it is what it is. I mean, it's going to be an easy peasy stitch. So hopefully at the retreat I can fill in this block, and then one night in my hotel room I will outline these, and then I can just fill in. So that's whip 5. And this is the last one. So apparently I only have 6 whips, which is good because I get nervous when I go above 5, and none of these are going to be finished anytime soon. This one I started in July of was it July of 2024? July of 2023? It was at one of the Stitch New Jerseys. It must have been 2023 because I definitely didn't go in 2025, and I don't believe I went in 2024 either. So I think I started this in July of 2023 with several Stitchers who are actually going to be at some of the retreats I'm attending in the fall. And so I took this out for Sampler September and back to school because I hadn't touched it. It was supposed to be my Monogamania piece, but after 2 Mays in a row, like I just need to learn that I get no stitching done in May. It's garden season and it's busy, and when I come in at night, I want to shower and pass out. So nothing got done on it in May. I think the last time, I'm trying to think the last time I actually stitched on this would have been last September, for Sampler September. So I'm happy to say that I have made some progress. I had all of this side done. So this is top to bottom. And I had that done. And then I had like up until this point stitched. And so far in September, I've done most of this and the border, which is very tedious. My goal is to get this page done so that I can, I want it to be across the top because I'm down the side, and then I will know exactly how big it is, and I will be looking for frames. So since I made that with the border, I can now start looking. But secretly, I would really like to get this page done and then come down here and start on that page. But I just don't know how much time I'm going to have and if it's going to be possible. So I don't even know if I can show this to you in the, well, there we go. I can see through it. So that's how big it's going to be. And this is on 20 count. So I can't imagine people who are stitching it on 28 count, how they're even doing it. Because it's just gargantuan as it is. And this is the smallest most people will stitch it. I know some crazy people will do it on 46 or 56, but I am not that crazy. In fact, normally when I do reproduction samplers, I like to stitch on linen. But I knew that I needed to stitch this as small as possible. And so that's why I decided to go with the 20 count, because it was going to be easier to frame it. I mean, I can't imagine. It's going to be a bear to lace as it is. Never mind if it was so much bigger. Okay, so that's what I have to show you. Plans. I do have plans. Like I said, I'll be stitching on the winter piece, filling it in at the next couple of retreats. I'm going to be continuing on Dutch Beauty through Sampler September. And actually at the retreats, kind of what I like to do just to mash things up a bit is I'll pick a piece and I'll stitch on that from breakfast to lunch. And then from lunch to dinner, I'll stitch on another piece. And then after dinner, I usually pick a really easy, just fill in because lighting and I'm tired and the whole 9 yards. Sometimes if I'm really in a groove, then I'll just pick the same piece up after a meal and continue on. And I like that because I do like to get a lot done so that I can notice progress. Sometimes if I'm switching every 3 hours, I don't get a ton of progress on a piece. So Dutch Beauty, the winter piece, and my daughters are, and the America 250. So those are the 4 that will be with me throughout the retreat season and the whopping 2 retreats that I have this fall. For the first time ever, there's no fall piece calling my name right now. So I think probably what I'm going to do is just continue stitching on Dutch Beauty for as long as I want to. I'm hoping that will take me through, usually about the week before Thanksgiving, I start getting itchy to do Christmas stitching. And so I'm hoping at that point to just switch over to my gnome piece. Full coverage, gonna take me forever. So I hope to stitch on that the end of November, all of December, all of January, all of February, because it's a winter piece. I don't know. Depending on the winter one that I just showed you, that might be my snow day stitch. If I decide to have and it's not even a snow day stitch because we don't get as much snow as we used to. I call it a winter precipitation stitch. So I may do that just to, mix things up a bit and so I don't get bored. But I'm hoping to make really good progress on Dutch Beauty this fall, and then the gnome piece in the winter, because I am anticipating the release of Beth Twist's. She did His Eyes on the Sparrow. She did Consider the Lilies. The third one, I believe, is coming out at market. And so my plan with that is to figure out at this point, do I want to stitch Consider the Lilies or do I want to stitch the new one? I did His Eyes on the Sparrow. I would like to have a companion piece for that. I don't necessarily think I need all 3. So whichever one of either Consider the Lily or the new one that I like the best, that's the one I will stitch. But for me personally, I can't justify starting it until either Dutch Beauty or the gnome piece is done. And Dutch Beauty is probably the one that's going to get done first. I would love, love, love to have it in the fair next Labor Day weekend, but I don't know how it's going to be possible. There are 21 pages in total. I have found it takes me about a week to stitch a page, but the pages there's more stitching in the sections that are coming up. So I might be able to get 2 or 3 pages done in a month. So I have about 8 done right now. I will have 9 done by the end of the month. So that'll leave me with 12 more pages to stitch between now and August, because I'll need time to lace it. And I don't think that that's possible. With next sampler September, 2027. 2027 is my deadline, my personal deadline for Dutch Beauty. It needs to be in the fair definitely by 2027, which means I can finish it anytime. Maybe after next sampler September, it'll be done. It won't be done in time for the fair, but who knows? But I need to get that done so that I can start the next heartstring samplery piece. And then, is there anything else calling my name? Nope, not right now. So I'm in a good place. I will work on my whips. I will maybe find a new piece or 2 to stitch at market, but there's nothing calling to me right now. There's nothing that I feel I need to kit up. So we'll just go with the 6 that we have and hopefully finish some of them. I like to go into the new year with a maximum of 3. So right now, it would be the America 250. It would be the that was the Teresa Koga. It would be Dutch Beauty, and it would be the gnome piece. So I don't know if I can finish the other smaller ones before then, especially if I decide to make the winter one a snow day. We'll see. That's what I'm thinking. So anyway, Life 360 just notified me that eldest is on her way home. So my once every other month having the house to myself is about over. Hopefully I will be back, I'm guessing sometime in October, with an update. And I wish you happy stitching, happy fall. We will talk to you later. Bye, Flosstube.